Very exciting day. Me and Matt are out to plant the first seeds of the year in the garden. We have inside under our grow lights, we have our peppers, our cabbages, and some onions growing in there, and most of them are up. Some of the peppers have not come up yet though, so I would leave them a little bit longer, and then I may need to think about replanting some of them. But I've got my seeds here that I hope to plant out here today, so I was going to share them with you. Get a hold of them. Get a halt of them, as the old timers would say. I hope to do some, plan to do some lettuce today. I have some, this is a pack that I had last year. I better fold it back up before I show you, so make sure I don't pour them out. Paris Island, I really like that one. My favorite lettuce, though, to grow of any of the ones I've ever grown is Jericho. I like it because it's a really great flavor, but it stands up to the heat. So come May and June, it just keeps going. Now, it's not going to last in July and August. It eventually starts going to seed, but it lasts a long time, and it's got a really good flavor. This was one that someone sent me. Lisa sent me Marlowe lettuce. It's like a purpley kind. I think I'm going to try to put it in just in a grow bag in the back, and that would just be a fun one to grow. We've never grew it. We grew this one last year. It was just salad bowl green, and we grew it in one of the bags back there, and it did really good. So I'm going to try to do that again. This is a fun one that I've planted once or twice over the years in the hopes that it would get a star and keep coming back, but that's not actually happened. But it's miner's lettuce. I started to say Liner's lettuce. Miner's lettuce. It's really a unique looking. The leaves remind me of nasturtiums, and it just has like maybe a little stronger taste than lettuce, but a green taste. I usually never ever start pansies or anything like that, but Loretta sent me these, and I'm going to try putting them in one of those grow bags in the back and just see what happens. Up here in the front where he's working on getting me some raised areas here, some rows ready for these. I'm going to do some radishes. I was trying to think of what I had in my hand, radishes, and I hope this year that I'm really going to be on top of, I usually do it once or twice and then I forget, of succession planting them, just so I'll have them. And if you've never grown radishes before, they are one of the easiest things to grow, and the great thing about them is they mature really quickly, where some things may take 100 days, even over that. Typically these take about, well, this one says 22, I was going to say 25 days, so in 22 days you can be eating radishes if you like them. I really love them. Then I've got some kale. This is one that I opened last year and grew some out of. Then I have a great old big pack. We won't grow all of this by no means. This is some that Debbie from Bryson Farm Supply shared with me. It's been years since I tried to grow parsnips, and I want to try again. Since my last 2 years of being successful with growing carrots, I'm thinking maybe I need to plant these really early too. So Debbie shared these with me. I'm going to try some of them. And Corey and Katie love parsnips. They love this dish they make called parsnip stew. Do you have a video, Corey, about that? We will link to Corey's video. It's chicken and carrots and parsnips. Really good, really hearty and tasty. And then I've got some carrots. Danvers, this is one from M.I. Gardner. I love his seeds. They do very, very well, and they're very affordable, which is great. This is one I've never tried before. Red core. It's got a red core in it, carrot. I'm going to try a few of those. Here's a pack that we grew last year that's almost gone. It's another Danvers. I just want to finish out the pack and be done with it. I'm about to drop my seeds. And then Katie got me this one for Christmas, and some of you told me how to say it and I've already forgot, but it's Scarlet, Nantes, carrots. There's no picture on that one. And then, just for fun, I thought we would try some buncheon onions. I did notice when Matt was over here, when we first come out and was trying to figure out where we was going to put anything, I have a few of the buncheon onions that I had, and they never fully matured. I have them. I moved them up here, and I see that they're doing pretty good. So we'll try to just leave them alone and let them continue to grow, but try a few more. A lot of people ask us if we rotate our crops, if we rotate everything we grow, if we rotate it. We really don't do that. For one thing, we don't have enough flat spaces available. It's kind of like the places that we've got that are kind of steep. We know that things like winter squash would grow better there, so they have a place to spread out. And for our beans, we already have our bean panels up. We don't want to take those down and move them every year, so we don't do that a lot. Sometimes we do individual little things, like last year, where Matt's at right now, we planted our squash and zucchini right there last year, and the carrots and the spring stuff was just beyond that, just on the other side of that. So we are changing that up just slightly this year, but typically we're not able to just totally rearrange the whole garden and make sure that we're not planting a certain item in the same place every year. Driving Matt crazy, but there's an old Appalachian saying that if you hit hose with somebody in the garden, it means you'll work in the garden with them next year. Parsnip seeds, they're so pretty. They look like tiny little pumpkins. Ooh, I'm getting a little heavy.
Huh?
I'm sewing them a little heavy.
What are those?
There's some you got me. Scarlet carrots.
Carrots.
Sunshine feels so good now that we've started working. I was really cold when we come out, but now it feels so good. This is down here, I want you to see this. This is a kale plant that we planted last fall, and we've been cutting off of it as it grows taller. It's ready to harvest some of it now. Those little pieces of probably we've had some heavy freezes in the last week, got that. But you can see it's made it through the winter, even the bitter cold days that we had. You just trim off what you want to eat, and then new growth will come back out. This will eventually, if I just keep letting it grow, get taller and taller and taller and taller till it's, waist high or even taller than that. If you just let it keep going, we probably will remove it once we start needing this part for summer vegetables. We got all those planted down there. Now in this part right here, right in front of where we got some onions from last year, Matt's just tore up the ground down through there, and I've kind of divided into little quadrants, and I'm gonna do kale in one, onions in one, my 2 lettuces, the Jericho and the Paris Island. So that's what I'm gonna put right here. We got everything planted down here. We're about to head up to the backyard where the grow bags are. But look, we've got daffodils budded up there. It won't be long and they'll be blooming. Well, we come up here to the backyard. We were going to plant I had some, looking over there, pansies, my miner's lettuce, 2 other kind of lettuces. We were going to do them in some of my grow bags. Everything up here is frozen. Even though that warm sunshine down there in front felt so good, it's chilly up here where the sun's not been shining, and everything we tried to dig in down about that, you get past that, it's frozen, just frozen solid like a block of ice. So we won't be planting anything back here today. I will try to go ahead, and I've got my pansy seed there. Instead of putting them in a grow bag, I'll take them back around here in the front under my kitchen window and see if I can find a little place to put them there, and just go ahead and put them out to see if they're able to do anything. I've never started pansy seeds, so it'd be something different. So I will do that. But as far as planting in my grow bags back here, I'm going to have to wait a little bit longer. Even though our days have been warming up to the upper 50s, our nights have still been down in the low 20s, and back here, just where the sun naturally doesn't shine as much, things are just not thawing up like they have up there in the front where there's more sunshine. I am really happy though with everything we got accomplished today. So exciting to put those first seeds into the ground. It just gets me so excited. It's wonderful to be outside in the fresh air, and I'm a little chilly back here, but wonderful up in the front to feel that warm sun to the point I took my coat off and was really feeling like it was spring of the year, even though I know it's not yet. I know it's not here. Ever since I've been reading the quilting book by John Rice Irwin, and ever since we read, he's been doing interviews at the portion of the book we're in now. And I think it may have been about 2 weeks ago, the part we were reading, he was wanting to find this family that had quilts. He was first just wanting to find quilts, and someone told him you needed to go. Well, that someone he's just stopped on the side of the road and asked someone. He thought, if there's anybody in this area that knows about quilts, I bet this man will. And the reason he thought that was because the gentleman, it was in February, and he was out in his yard, in his garden working, and everything, when John Rice got out and walked up there, was just in perfect order. His fruit trees and his bushes and his grapevines and all that had been trimmed and pruned back like you're supposed to every year. He already had carrots and lettuce and things like that growing in his yard, in his garden. And John Rice was really impressed. And then he said, of course, if anybody in this area is going to know who the quilters are, this industrious man will. And he did. He sent John Rice to talk to someone. But ever since I read that, I've been like, I just want to have my carrots and my lettuce and my onions and things growing in the garden. Well, as of today, I've achieved that. So that makes me feel really, really good. The other thing we'll like to plant in the spring, of course, thinking about March, it's almost here, we'll start thinking about potatoes. We're going to have to thaw up some back here to plant potatoes. But also my beets, I usually plant them this early. And the past 2 years, I've not had any luck whatsoever. I say I usually plant them this early, but probably more so since I've been able to work at home, that's when I've been planting them early. If I really think back to the years I grew a lot of beets, I'm sure it was later, just because when you work a full-time job and you're only home on the weekends, and then you play music like we were doing in those days throughout the tri-state area, as Paul would say, and then sometimes it's wet and you can't get outside. I'm sure it was much later in the year before before I actually planted my beets. And a few people in a recent video, when I said, if you got any tips, please tell me, they said that I might be planting them too early. So I'm not even going to think about planting them. One person said, and thank you if it was you, I've screenshotted it and I've kept it, but I don't have that with me right now, but said that their husband said to always plant beets when the dogwood blooms. So I've got several more weeks before that happens in my area of Appalachia, but I'm going to remember that, and that's a good thing to go by each year if you just wait till the dogwood trees bloom. I hope you enjoyed being out and about with me and Matt and Corey. They wasn't in the video as much as I was, but they're both over there chatting with each other now. I hope that you enjoyed being out with us today on this first day of us planting our garden, making our garden here in the mountains of southern Appalachia.